Coming back on. It looks like we're coming back on. I'm your happy healer lover, Keith Landy. I am proud to be here. I do happy healing, and I am your happy healer lover because I care. The contrast of caring, not doing the work that matters fundamentally to our lives, to our very existence, is greed. Unchecked greed is what the world of greed hell does. That's what it does. Happy healing is the antidote to that. It does not accept that our lovely, precious people have no value. That simple. Now you meet people of varying degrees in terms of how greedy they are, and that's quite typical in life, because that's how the land of greed hell is ran. It's not something we chose. It's perpetrated on us because it's our only way of survival. Yet technology, our brilliance, our people, so loving, so talented, so creative, our ability, our very faith, our understanding in science, God's beautiful world, it proves our standing at a precipice, the ability in hand of doing so much better than that which we do. However, the smartest among us continuously get pulled to the dark side, losing the brilliance of their mind, realizing that we can all have so much better, that if only they could also see the damage that this unchecked nature of their greed goes and does. This is when people are extremely overbearing in their ambition, in their drive, but in the world of greed hell. Not drive, for example, serving at the soup kitchen. No, we're not talking about that kind of service that so many of my friends do. No, sirree. What we're talking about is service to oneself, and that is what Kevin PAFFRATH is about. So we are picking back up on where we had left off just a moment ago, when, by the way, it was an internet knockdown. So in the area, the phone lost its internet, and because this is a mobile setup and we are aboard Mini Happy Force Mini, Happy Force 1 is right over there. It's just right over there. I have every half a mind to show you. And I will show you later in the program. How about that? So stick on board so you can see a good live view of Happy Force 1. And then we're going to talk about Kevin PAFFRATH, and we're going to talk about his latest stint on valuetainment, and where he tried to explain some of his views. He stumbled, but more than stumbled, because his views show him to be inhumane. He wants to put in a casino, but the responsibility is on him if he's governor, to make sure he's solving real human problems. And instead, he's adding mechanisms of human destruction, human depression, and human death. That is actually what casinos bring, if you want to be quite right down to the truth of it all. And it's like greed maximized. But the folks who ordain this kind of hell so that they can enrich themselves, they say, oh, well, it's freedom. And for the man or woman or person who wants to go and gamble, let them go do that. And what I realize the truth is, people who that gamble are often doing it because they're trying to get their minds off of something else or not deal with the world. And that's everything that's our problem with the world. So Kevin says, okay, we'll just do it because we're about freedom. And, you know, even though that it can destroy, and it will destroy so many lives, and when that happens, if that happens, he says, and it's naive to say if. He says he's handling homelessness in 60 days, but yet here's one of the things that he says: if people become mentally ill, or, you know, their gambling addiction takes everything they have, they'll deal with that then. I mean, you're going to have homelessness. You're going to have death coming out of this. Obviously. I mean, you're in a game where people lose their minds sometimes when they go all in because they believe that they're going to be the next winner or that they're trying to get their minds off of something else. Those are the two big ones. I have personal experience in that, and then we'll get right into Kevin here. And because it knocked off when we were playing the video on Meaty McGreedy himself, the one where he comes after me, well, we'll go right back to that, and you'll be seeing that Kevin addresses and drives after your happy healer lover. And so we'll talk about that stuff, and I'll also respond to it right afterward. And then we have another video that I want you to just see. It's going to be showing you and my response to. I'll be reacting to various segments of his valuetainment appearance. So stick on board for all this great stuff, and let's go ahead and get us right back to that video where we got left off before.
Landy. I really want to get to it. Apparently, Keith doesn't like my explanation on naked shorts. Well, Keith, I might just stop screaming.
So I need to acknowledge that just doing the same thing every day when the underlying environment that we're in has changed is stupid. I've got to focus on the real detailed research I think we're all looking for. So with that, I quit. I'm quitting. I'm done.
And that's it. We had effect on you, Meaty McGreedy. You felt the good old happy healer, and you just said, I can't take too much more of that. That truth, it was just hitting you, wasn't it? And I'm not one to like to give a hard time to anybody. But something about you, Meaty McGreedy. You got that special thing about you. It's just so that you're just doggone greedy. I can't believe how greedy one person really can be. You shock me, Meaty McGreedy. You honestly shock me with your greed. And I say you make a great case for somebody to not be like. The greed that you use makes you weak. It makes it so that the truth can shine, opening up your world, descending upon in it, showing you to be who you are. Your greed, it makes it obvious what you're about and what you're working for. And I've told you this before, it's not just your weak spot. It makes you vulnerable in what you already know is a very greedy world. Think of all the people who want to cause you harm. And well, trust you, Meaty McGreedy, while I know you have your heart out to take from people, I only want to help people, including you. No, you see, because that was not what you were about now, was it? Oh no. And that's where your weakness lies, Meaty McGreedy. Pay attention to your happy healer lover. Doing so will help you get command of your life in ways you never knew that you could. In charge of your time in ways that are true to your soul, with benefit of doing the things that you wish to do, serving the purpose and enhancing your happiness by living your passions, things pursuing greed will never allow you to do. But that's why last week I said you were a mind stuck on greed, and that greed makes you vulnerable.
So I need to acknowledge that just doing the same thing every day when...
Well, Meaty McGreedy, just change your ways and stop taking from people.
The underlying environment that we're in has changed.
Yes, and that's namely that yours truly has arrived.
Is stupid. I've got to focus on the real detailed research I think we're all looking for. So with that, I quit. I'm quitting. I'm done.
Meaty McGreedy, naked short selling is not legal.
How do you like that? How do you like that? That's Kevin PAFFRATH talking about his wanting to give better and more. Let's go back to that. I want to show you this. This is something, and he brought me up in it too, so we'll do a little bit of response. A little bit of response. So let's put it in.
Keith Landy. I really want to get to it. Apparently, Keith doesn't like my explanation on naked.
I've got to focus on the real detailed research I think...
Right there. That's where we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. He says he has to focus on a real detailed research because he wasn't doing it before. and he was cutting corners. And I brought it to his attention, and what he did is he blocked me. He blocked your happy healer. He didn't want to hear about that. And so I found other ways to break through his veil of blocking because I knew my spirit was coming through. I have a strong spirit. How's it going, Carol? How's it going, Deborah? And all the beautiful people that are here. I just love you so much. You're part of the Happy Healer Lover family and the AmericanMantics family and the folks who just love one another because they're big Care Bears with big hearts. They're human beings with moral values who care about God, love God and Jesus, and love each other too. So we're getting back on to Kevin PAFFRATH. Let's take a look what else he says and I'll respond.
Detailed research, I think.
Thing about you. It's just so that you're just doggone greedy. I can't believe how greedy one person really can be. You
Every day when the underlying environment that we're in has changed is stupid. I've got to focus on the real detailed research I think we're all looking for. So,
okay, now what I want to bring to your attention that when he said that was at a time when he was also saying he quit. I just put a few different clips together, and that this was at a high tide when I was also talking to him, and we were having I was upset because I had offered him a lot in terms of myself and my effort, and I noticed that there was something different about him than what I had thought of him to be. I thought of him to be someone who is very astute and interested in people, like I am. I thought of him to be interested in answering in genuine ways concerns that I had. And what my concern is that I was on that channel as a former candidate myself, pushing my views often, and knowing he heard and listened well, just like when I offered advice and Moderna was at 147. And I know a lot of the people who normally watch his show. You folks catch up, even watch this show, and you remember that when I offered that, because we were talking about it in the comments, and Kevin would watch me in the comments, and the most prominent commenters would all know of me. And so I was there for a good year and espousing my views and being passionate about things, and I really felt Kevin had heard a lot of that. And my name on YouTube is Happy Healer for President. So that tells you what people would first see about your happy healer there. Now, of course, that was in the past. That is not right now. Right now, we're just focused on loving people, loving Trump, loving each other, loving our and also working for a better future. That's what AmericanMantics is about. So Kevin had seen these very logical views and the kinds of things that I was talking about and doing, and how I was overcoming it and using YouTube in order to help expand it. And instead of spending a lot on marketing, for example, I would use various channels as I do now. Yeah, I might not be getting 5,000 views every channel on one, but when you add them up, well, then you get there. And that's kind of what the idea is behind that, and other ideas and ways and means. And Kevin, I just felt that maybe I rubbed off a bit on him. And so then he went and announced for governor. And I just know that a piece of that might have been either subconsciously or consciously having my involvement because of that continued speaking out over the course of a year in my name and the things that I've done. And if you visit my channel, what you see there, or if you visit the website, what you see there. And it's almost like a roadmap, I think. I think like alarm bells went off in his head. Oh my God, this guy's doing that. Yeah, I could do that. I could totally do that. I can't do president because there's no presidential run. It's just like an opportunist, like how greed does. And, when I decided that when I was doing it, it wasn't because, I hate Trump or I hate whomever else is on the other side. I love Trump. I support Trump. I emphatically support Trump. And he was a key to what I see as being very, very important changes for people who are desperately in need of them. And I spell that out very well. And so that's all that was about. And I think he's seen that stuff and alarm bells. He said, oh my God, that's so right. I can do that. And I already have 1.6 million viewers. I'm thinking like how greed would think. I could do this and maybe get some more views, make some more money. I could do a campaign drive, bring in money. He did a 32-hour campaign drive where he brought in $200,000 from mainly his course members, who I believe he fleeces. He tells them that they need him to be successful. And for the ones that are successful, give Kevin the credit, and credit takes it, and Kevin takes it. And for the ones who are unfortunately not successful, well, YouTube makes a convenient little block button for Kevin to use for those poor, unfortunate folks. And that's just the way that story goes. And it looks like all systems are go. This is your happy healer speaking. And that monitor's up. Yes, sir. We are clear for takeoff. Okay, folks. I appreciate you guys being here. I love y'all. And you just mean the world to me. Not just because you're here watching this, but because of, and it goes back to even why I do any of this at all. It's because I understand how important we are. And if you look at the world, I understand we're accepting too less for ourselves, for what we're capable of doing. If we put our effort together and we combine our effort and our muscle and our minds, we could do so much better. And I'm honest about that. And then I see the grave need. People dying. Now, you mean to tell me we have people we love dying and we're not doing our absolute best? There's Charlie over here or Billy over there, of all various race types and creeds and nationalities and sexual orientations and you name it, all different types of God's creation, variously placed all throughout the land. And all these people have hope and dreams and desires and wants, and they want to build and be creative. And oftentimes they are stamped out. Their fire is put out. Their passion is put out. And right now it's quite frankly replaced with a lot of anger. Anger is not the way we're going to get to the promised land. And a soft civil war doesn't. And greed, that causes all of it. And really, when you step out of it and you look and you say, what could we really do? Idealistically, I admit, what does love do? Love cares. What does greed do? Greed is selfish. What does love do? It has courage. It's brave. It sticks in the fight. It does the hard work. It takes and does and makes it better. It improves upon things. Yes, it may fail, but it doesn't quit. That's what love's main power is. What does greed do then? Greed steals, and where it can't steal, it might buy or bribe, but one thing that greed never does is create. Greed doesn't have the creation force. That's always love. That's always coming from that energy of creation and power. And that's what greed then takes on a massive scale and sells it off in the various ways in the market. And people end up losing all human value because money and that greed itself that represents that begins to take on a value that surpasses, for one thing, and then makes human value itself separate of the market systems and the so forth that's only exists. It's meant to serve those people, but now they're completely separate of it, and that money itself is the thing with the most value. But that's wrong. It's all one picture. Humanity is supposed to be in that. Americans specifically, about America. That's why I think we have this crisis on a southern border is going to kill our ability to do AmericanMantics better, faster, stronger, and spread it and expand it and make folks in other areas inspired to follow the same ways that we do through the powers that made us successful in the first place. That's what I see as success, not going and opening up our southern border, which is only going to make us weaker and less capable of bringing our people together in unity. People are falling apart because of this unchecked nature of greed that we see people like Kevin doing. It's unacceptable. They do it without shame, in some cases with a smile, because they're legal, and that's all that matters to them. They're not considering the overall picture. But when you step back and you look at the overall picture and you know what each one of us are capable of doing and what we should and should not accept for ourselves and each other, because that's what raises the value in the spectra of the human spirit, and it raises our markets, it raises our possibilities, our hope, our growth, our ingenuity, our hard work and dedication and discipline is translated all to a better and brighter new world, and I call it AmericanMantics. Let's get on to right now Kevin PAFFRATH, hopeful for the governor of the state of California, who's one greedy SOB, and we don't need no greedy bastards. And Kevin PAFFRATH is exactly that and so much more. I really wish the guy, but I hoped and I pried and I tried my best and I dug and I pried and I tried, but I could not break the veil in terms of breaking through the mind of Kevin PAFFRATH to help him, for one thing, because I have had those experiences and my goal was to help him, and then also to make his life easier by providing a charter bus so that he would have the ability to go to the various towns, bring his staff, have electricity, an office, and area to actually work from. And I felt that was a very generous thing for me to offer him, and that it was also for me a way to expand the goals of happy healing and expand the goals specifically of AmericanMantics, the system of love and truth. Very humble and honest and hardworking people with ingenuity and dedication and honesty. And when you talk about those values, you're talking about American values. And so that's why we call that AmericanMantics. And the Mantics part of it is because it's a love and it's a passion and it's the most romantic thing you can imagine. When you put it together, you have an American, you have the Mantic, baby. You are talking AmericanMantics. And so that's what we do. And that's what we are. And that, ultimately speaking, if our will is expressed most in this world outward, then we would have that world. The world that's working together, unified, we're in unison with each other, we're understanding, and that we're achieving colossal goals that greed hell could never even dream of. And expanding and extending life in a happier environment using God's science, because everything is a gift from God. Never underestimate how happy God intends for you to be. Never underestimate how loved God intends and knows for you to be. Those are powerful forces that drive this momentum to a great new bright world when we're talking about AmericanMantics and how that system has its force and its ways and its means. And of course, some people had said, well, wait a second, it's all just brotherhood. Well, it's, of course, you use love. I mean, when you're in greed hell, as we are in greed hell, there's a term we use all the time: be professional. Be professional. What does professional mean? Well, unprofessional is when you intervene with the more emotional side, they say, but really it's your moral side in many cases, where you allow yourself to intervene and you say, wait a second, what are we doing here? It's just like a soldier's duty is to do or die. I forget how it goes exactly, but that it's not his role to decide, it's his role to do or die, or something of that nature. And that's the whole thinking behind greed hell, is that there's very little choice in terms of what the individual, who at the very heart of it seeks the most: freedom and happiness, ability. And when you think of freedom, think of ways and means. Don't think of being plucked in an area of scarcity and nothingness in a desert and saying, there you are, free to roam around. Don't be confused of what freedom is. You have amazing possibilities and love everywhere. Choices. That's freedom. What we see right now is stagnation. You got to have a vision for this, and the energies, it shows us the truth. So let's see how the people that are killing that world of AmericanMantics, and what they do and why and how, that when you just look at that as, oh, well, they're just being professional. Oh, well, they're just building their business. Oh, well, they're just being ambitious. When it's not geared towards building the world of love and truth, it's geared towards stocking up and making more powerful the world of greed hell, and then for the rest of us to forgive those horrendous actions. And what I mean by forgive that is there's an untold understanding, even police, like in our mind, almost everybody, once you take that, oh, well, this was a business, that was their job, there's almost no expectation of like human beings have value. No, this is about a function. The ball was to roll this way, it rolled that way. They did their jobs. Don't interfere with them. And, or whatever the case is, that was a bad example, but, good examples, very strong examples are of like when Nazis, and they put orders out of killing, Jews, rounding them up, and the soldiers in some cases would not cooperate because that part of them that said, I'm not going to do this. Well, had they been caught, and many were caught, they were punished gravely for that. So other soldiers learned that if it was in their interest to stay alive, the best way to stay alive is to go with the system, even if they're just feigning. Although feigning as they are, from the outside looking in, they're playing a pivotal role. And this is how greed hell, it's that same rotten facade. So when love actually is also a force, it's empowerment, it's real freedom. And that's why I see with America, when our founding documents were put together, that involves the ability to have that one nation under God, indivisible. It's talking about unity. It's talking about that strength and that spirit, that stronger spirit, that before there's the me, there's the us, or there is no me. We are an organism, and that America is a birthplace for it. And that each person has the ability to become independent within that organism, to be stronger with more ways and means to serve back and make stronger the overall collective ability. Now, we understand and recognize that success and failure is written in common goals and working together. I mean, that's how military works. That's how a lot of the institutions in our government already work. The only problem is that when we do this, we don't do it well. And that when we don't do it, that's horrible. We just simply don't do it. And people don't have value. And so we've really got to step up our game. And when you're talking about becoming better, and I'm sorry for carrying on, but this is everything that Kevin does not do. And when you're carrying on and becoming better and putting value into people and they're pursuing their dreams, now you have more scientists. People that were going to get into finance, they changed their mind and they went into physics and they went into science, and they're coming up with new things that you never even imagined or thought of, but now that you benefited from because you got on board with the right energy. That's why the unity says, come with me, because we all have much better that way. Come with me because this is the right way, because love is the right way, because truth is the right way. And so it's very logical. And that's why at the heart of it, I voted for Trump. I love Trump because he's a strong man. He could change the way things are done. He could change and allow even other people like myself, for example, look, I'm about a man of service. I'm no better than anybody. But if I don't see other people able to convey this message so effectively and so important, this baby, and to be able to translate it and to make it effective and to make it work, well then we're not there, and it's up to me to do it then, because I don't see anybody else doing that. And when what we do see is no matter which direction you go, no matter how insane one side is, or that the other side in some ways may make some more logic, either way you go, it's guaranteed division and hell and civil war and continued strife for America. And to me, this is evil forces that are causing that. And that the way you get over that, AmericanMantics is the solution for all of this stuff. And in every way that we were ever weak before, because as we grow and we're becoming stronger, and that our people are getting in fact, we've got people right now that are so capable that if we empowered them, we would have new, as a country, ways and means in order to express the world we want to live in. Not a world of danger or hurting anybody else, however, a world that's so capable and strong that nobody can hurt us either, but that we send out vibes of love, and that the world would tend to want to either gravitate towards that or not. And I think that that's just a human tendency at that point. And there is no war for that. The way love wins is by the heart and individual to individual. There is no war for that. That's why you have more freedoms in love, that you're capable of expressing yourself, that your voice matters. That's why when I see people do greed, this awful, detestable greed, everywhere they go, they do this greed, and they don't realize that what they're selling is the value in each other and what we can all have together. And that each one of us then are more empowered, so that not just one person is running around getting trinkets that have no more value. I mean, isn't it pathetic? I'm sitting in a van in the middle of nowhere. I'm online talking to you. I have all pretty much the same things, almost just about, and with my brilliance and my ways and means of doing things, staying clean and happy and entertained, and I'm able to do all those. All right, so it might not be the most ideal for everybody, but compared to these billionaires sitting in these mansions, they got to hire people to keep it clean, and all the extra, fears that come with what people might want to come and steal from you because of flashiness. I mean, all of that stuff is just bad energies in a world of greed hell. In a world of love, when you're going after success, all the people are happy and taken care of, because not because we're a world that is just perfect and look at this utopian world, but because love cares, and it doesn't stop until problems are solved. So that's why things will be taken care of. And love cares, and so that you don't see the corruption, because love takes care of people. You don't see the robberies, the killings, and all that, and the depression, because people are cared for, and much in every sense of the way, love cares to that degree. And so it solves problems that then and therefore stomp out problems before they ever begin, because that's how you nourish. When you nourish a plant, you want it to be nice and healthy. Humanity should be the same way, in that we're growing and expanding out, and that really God gave it to America to do this job. I mean, when you look at the Constitution, it's like the facts are written right there. When you look at the fact that we're gifted the most powerful nation in the world, representing 5% of the world's population, but some 24% of the world's global economy. I mean, that's an astonishing number. And the fact is, we are owed to do things right by ourselves, first off, and most foremost. I mean, it's I always say, you gotta love yourself the most. Don't get confused. You gotta love yourself the most, That's what empowers you to love everyone else, so that you see value in everyone else. This is about a human value thing. And so that when you are happy and taken care of in the new world, some artists, scientists, they don't care about all this material stuff, but in the new world, if they want it, they can have it. And for those so driven people, instead of being in an environment where people are booing you down and getting upset at your ambition and what purpose are you serving and you're so selfish, instead people would be appreciating you for the things that you're doing because they're not left behind. You see, it's all in energy. We live in the energies and we have to respect that. And so everybody does better in a world that does love and truth and care. And that's what AmericanMantics is. It puts people first, and in a way that continues on what our message has always been, which is make America great again. And this is doing that is America first policy. I think that's important, and I'm behind that, and I support that. And America first means the American people have to be taken care of. That's what that means. And if you take care of the American people, then what you'll have is a better outcome because people are taken care of. Naturally, if you take care of the people, well, then they have a better outcome. Now, is this somebody calling into the show? Probably not. Let me check. Hello? Yeah, it's Keith. Who is this? Hello? Hello, hello, hello again. Are you there? Okay, so we do have that, by the way. I know if some of you ever, and I'll take some calls now if you want. If you want to call in, feel free to call in. And the number that you can reach is on the website. You go to happyhealerforpresident.com. Or you can go better. Go to AmericanMantics.com because that's more aptly what is the case. I'm not running for president at this very moment. So AmericanMantics.com. And check out the information. It's right there. You could see the phone number, call into the show, and I'll answer the phone just like I did now, and we'll have you on. If you want to come on, I'm saying. You don't have to if you don't want to, but you're welcome to come on. And if you have some questions, you could ask right there on the air. There's also, if you wanted for a guest in the future, and my people are very important to me, obviously, so I want to give them the best value. We'll have guests, and I'll bring them forward, not just people calling in. But again, that's down the road because right now we're still covering a lot of what it is. It's amazing. You would think that 3 times a week, putting an hour in, that's 3 hours a week, that you would get through this quite quickly. Folks, we have a lot to go over. I'm going to tell you right now, we have a lot to go over. And it's going to be interesting. I think the reason why you don't want to speed it up is because you take a lot out of it then. And the story as it is, it builds up to what AmericanMantics is and why we need it. Why we need it. My life, I'm telling you, is a testament to why we need AmericanMantics. And you can trust in that fact right now. My life is a testament to why we need AmericanMantics. Because of what I've seen and what I've witnessed, and because of the differences that I know is true about these special gifts we call life that each one of us are experiencing. No way is it meant that for God to say, for each one of us to suffer, that wasn't meant to be. No way is that life is supposed to be spent in that way for people because we're not doing our jobs and we're not loving each other the way we're supposed to be doing so. And that is what this covers. That's very serious business to your happy healer lover. And there's a lot of great news in that. And the best news of all is that there is a much better world emerging. It's a natural thing. It's happening already. We just need to help it along. And those are the energies that are the great battle of evil versus goodness, God versus the devil. And that when you see AmericanMantics is actually constructed in such a way that it respects that order. It respects that battle. It helps the better side instead of the worser side. That's what love and being honest about and having a life built around those values and taking care of people because people have value and purpose. It's like when you're in war, you leave no man behind because you get most close to your humanity. And in that moment, with bullets flying, you can't leave one man behind. But then back in society, we leave large swaths of people to die very slow and painful deaths in slow motion, losing their ability, becoming disabled, thankless, losing their bone structure, their eyesight, their mouths, their teeth, in a slow and painful death until finally they die. And that has got to end. I'm telling you, that's got to end. And so the only way that's going to end is if we have love for each other, and it's painful. I've seen so many people. My brother was so, and I know some of you have seen this, and it's such a touching story. My brother, who died recently, didn't have to go, and I was talking to my other brother about this, and I put on a segment, and I'm going to share that with you guys in the future because it's very important, and just kind of thinking about what was really taken from us. And the way I see it, and I even tell this to my family, it's a recognition for me because I live in the world of love and truth, God's loving world. I'm there 24/7, regardless of anything else. So I see everything else, but I'm seeing it from that prism, from the world of love and truth and God, and hopeful that for humanity and AmericanMantics and Happy Healer Lover. And that's why I am your happy healer lover. And that's what happy healing is. Being in that mindset, recognizing human value, people matter. No, it's not a choice to just say that person is this or that. Everybody matters. There's not someone that doesn't matter here and that's someone over there who does matter. Everybody matters. Then you know you're on the right level with your own true moral guidance. That's what you truly want. To make any other acceptance or deal, you're not dealing with the true honest broker of truth within. Because if you get down and dirty, we're capable of doing much better if we all get on the same page. That's the deal. We have to get on the same page. If freedom can't find unity, and only greed, hell, and destruction and dictators are the only ones that can make a fake unity with their demands and their armies, and at the end of a barrel, then we're going to have a subjugated life and humanity will be a failed whatever it was. I know that we have a God Almighty who loves us, and I know that the purpose of happy healing, while on the outside to so many people seems trivial, I know it's the most important and valuable work we have to do in our lifetimes to become together more empowered, stronger, and safer, to stamp out the hell that we do every day, because greed is a destructive force. Greed is, by all definitions and means, the devil. And Kevin PAFFRATH uses this unchecked greed in order to guide his world into an ever richer state, enriching himself, making more and more money off of his viewers and his, unfortunately, really deep into it course members. The fools who rushed in, unfortunately, are in deep with Kevin, and it's on a level of cult because they are bought in, and they believe he's great because he told them that he is great, and that in some cases, coincidentally, they had some success. Perhaps Kevin had some aspect in their minds to do with that, which builds a very strong appreciation back, because at the heart of it, these aren't bad people. They're lovers, just like we all are, and they want to love and appreciate Kevin. And what does Kevin do back? He poops on him. He shits on him, quite frankly. And he doesn't care back. That's the true Kevin. And that's what bothers me. He does greed to the strongest extent one could. And a lot of truth is coming out. I mean, there's maybe Hitler and people that kill. But I'm saying the guy's young and motivated. He wants to be from 0 to 60 without a cause. And that's dangerous. So when I step forward, it's because I was seeing the void and felt compelled despite my internal nature to stick to myself, in that I mind my own business and be quiet and listen and learn for so long, years, meditate on the truth and be so honest about that, only to see liars on a whimsical make money and become successful and build empires from fake lies and fake affection. And that's what's killing the world. We're hungry for love and for a better world. And what we get, and we continuously get, is a world that wants to eat up whatever we put out. And that's a danger that will only ever be overcome when the hearts of man, truly what is in on the inside, can come out. That's what I believe. And that AmericanMantics assists people in coming out. And how I live my life, and I sometimes shock people, it's because I'm very much in touch with that center and with that spirit of all of us, so centered to God Almighty, our creator of all, that empowers me. I don't fear. I have courage. I see a need. I don't step away and say, oh, well, that's not my problem. I do my best to fill it. And when I fill it, I'm not trying to enrich myself. I'm trying to enlighten a movement and change the world for the better so that people don't have to live in misery, and so that we're not actually like what Kevin always... I think Kevin watches my videos because I often say, I don't like these people dying on the streets, and I know I am on the streets myself, and happy for as many. I don't complain about it. I use my knowledge. I know the world, and I built my solar panels. I built in this actual moving solution the ability to move and get the job done. And it might not be what Kevin PAFFRATH has, 20 homes, and puts all that, his life is just for that stuff. But guess what he's not doing? He's not experiencing the things that bring him the wisdom. And I thought maybe he could respond to it. And I'll tell you, I can start lower, but I like making fast progress. I'm trying to, as much as anything else, translate a gift. I've had people come to me and say, thank you. You saved my life. You gave me the power and the understanding of why I'm here. I was dealing with depression before. I was hating life. I couldn't see the reason of going on. The greed everywhere was killing me. But then I realized that you are right. We have this value, and that we all matter, and that we all have purpose and a sacred reason for living. And that if I forget that, then perhaps it's all of eternity that I'm forgetting, and it's all that'll ever be. Perhaps it was my effort that the world needed for me to be engaged, and that's true for everyone. That is so important. I don't think there is a human soul out there that doesn't seek its oneness, its wholeness, its understanding of the world around it. And what Kevin is selling is taking away from that world. What Kevin is selling is a lie. You can run after it for 20 years if you like. You can run after it for another 20 years. You can flash to the many people, oh, look what I have. Look at my kingdom. It's over here. Where's your kingdom? And then everybody can go sit in their kingdoms all alone. But I'm telling you, this kind of way is not the way that we're going to build up our promised land. It's going to be thinking about one another and understanding that loneliness, that depression, and that dark place wasn't expanding or getting smarter. It wasn't learning how to live better, how to live stronger, just like I have done right here in Happy Forest Mini. I learned essentially so many things on how to be sufficient, and I was successful. And I feel empowered because I know electricity. I learned it. I learned how to do the electrical work. See, so while Kevin is always pursuing the markets, always pursuing this one thing, and I know about all those things, but our energy is going to be divided. And not everybody is in a situation that is as fortunate as Kevin either. Kevin is very fortunate. He's surrounded by smart people, meaning his family, who were very well off to start with, and had co-signing for his first home with his wife, and was able to get that extra little push and support. That certainly wasn't there for myself. My father died when I was 18. He was in construction and always caught the bad end of the deal, always broke. He spent his final years living in a shed in the back of my mother's friend's house. And then that was awful because he was there for some time, and then he went to Michigan to stay because he had nowhere else to go, for one thing, at that point. And he stayed with my oldest brother, and actually both of them are passed on now. And they were both so healthy and so strong and so capable and talented and artistic. My dad knew how to build a home from the foundation all the way to the roof. Imagine if he was empowered, given the materials to build homes and appreciated for it. I remember my dad, he built a home for the church when we first moved to Romeo, Florida. It's like it was back in 1990, and it's a really country town. They have, like, right now, even in the year 2021 finally, they have a few extra things, and also an elementary school. In fact, my younger siblings went through Miss Markham's course, who was a neighbor of ours and was part of the Markhams that owned all the peanut farms out there. And so it's got their local stories, and that's kind of where my dad was so into that community. And the church wanted an extra building built, and my dad bought it. I mean, he built it for nothing practically, and just built it because he's great at that. And it was better than all the other buildings. When my father worked, he worked for, like, rich people, because he did all the extra marbling work. I mean, he's 100% Italian. He knew how to do all that stuff. And so, yeah, he knew the electrical to everything, all the way up to the roof and the shingles and shebang, and would be an amazing home. But he was left broke and not empowered, and that's where we fail, because not everybody are money managers. Some people are better with that than other people. But yet sometimes the people that aren't good at that, they're really good at other things. But when money dictates whether your gift or expression can be felt in the world, that's leaving a lot out for those of us who are looking for that, And it also leaves those people who are so talented and capable out of expressing that talent. Oftentimes those people, they end up the homeless ones. They're playing their guitars. They end up the homeless ones because they got depressed. I'm a lover, and I think love in greed hell is so hard because it makes it impossible when you have money issues and other issues that get involved. That's why faith is so important. And I've never, for all the times that I've been listening to Kevin, I have never heard him express faith once. And can you imagine, this is the kind of people that are running for leadership in America? We have to be very cognizant of what we are capable of doing and what we want out of life. Because if it's only on our deathbeds that we think about the mistakes that we made, then it's always going to be too late to make a difference in the world that will affect the hearts of millions and change the prospects of humanity moving forward. That we can actually make it to a type 1 civilization, and that we can survive the next 50 years. That's where I'm looking. China looks into the future when they're investing, and they're capable of doing that because they have the same leadership and unity to work. that unity is so important, meaning you have so many people in the same direction moving for the same cause. America would shine, and in some cases we've seen the power of what a unified America looks like, but to be unified and continuously driven for a future that we're all proud about, to look at our current problems and then to look 50 years beyond them to a place where we could all see as beautiful and blossoming, that we all argue about how we can get there and make that the primary argument rather than looking at where we all want to go and just going, and we can figure out stuff on the way but start making the journey, or we'll never get there. And that's how we're dying in this world as it is, and that gift is for us to take. It's always for the taking, but that greed, hell, or the devil, or evil, however you want to see it, but it's an energy that exists. You could almost grab it. It's so real that it's always trying to hold us back and make life harder. And so we have to overcome that by changing our own hearts to be more in line with what we actually really are, to be what we always wanted to be in this world. And I remember when I was a child, and I'll show you pictures, that I was just a sweet boy. I never thought of how I would conquer and everybody else around me. That's what business is. And I'm good at that. I could win in business, but that's horrible. For every success, you have like 10 failures all littered around you. Because all the people, they're competing for the same things. If everybody in Kevin's world of scarcity, as greed hell is, because that's how you get the most death, and they're all competing for the same scarcity, that's not how we find success. We have to build the world of abundance. That's insane. That's where death is found. Being so driven like Kevin. No, I'll knock you out of the way. Knock you out of the way. It's like these guys are playing in real life Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty. This is their mindset. Kevin gets on his show, plays live Call of Duty, and makes these associations, knocking people out, and knocking the market out. And guess what? When you see something where you win in the market and you're on the winning side of a trade in the market, there's always somebody else that's on the other side of that trade that's losing. Never forget that. All the people that are losing and are forgotten and have never been considered through the process. Next up, I want to get to it right away. So you know what I'll do, because I went on for a while, we'll make it a fresh new video. The new video, we'll call it Unchecked Greed, still part of the episode 5, because we're going to keep that for the daily, and on Kevin PAFFRATH. How about we do that? We'll do that. We'll be right back. God bless you.